Okay, we're talking of, there's this European antitrust case with Amazon right now. Let's talk about that and why is that interesting?
Yeah, so very, very new information just announced today is that the European Union has opened a antitrust investigation against Amazon, which I think has been long overdue.
So what does that mean?
So basically, what the European Union is concerned about is about manipulation in the marketplace. And so as the executive director of an organization that represents online sellers and who's heard the story time and time again about sellers being unfairly treated, sellers, who, take on the risk and provide products, on Amazon, only to find that Amazon uses the data to determine that they want to get into that market. And then now they're being pushed out of their own business that they basically proved was viable. I was just talking to somebody the other day who was showing me examples of how their products, which used to be #1 sellers, are, whenever they put a search in for the product, it's always like they can't even buy the ad space to beat Amazon's listing. Like Amazon's listing, right? Because Amazon's now competing with Amazon Basics in that product space. So they're basically taking the information from the marketplace that they get as an operator of a marketplace and then using it to their advantage and to the disadvantage of the sellers, which they think is anti-competitive behavior, which I tend to think is the case too. And coincidentally, Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts was in a New York Times article interviewed by Aaron Ross Sorkin, saying the exact same thing. And I think it's been something a lot of people have said. I mean, it's what a lot of sellers complain about this. It's that, I started this business and then Amazon started competing with me and they went and became an Amazon Basic, or Amazon found out how much I was paying my wholesaler because they could see, and I had to give them invoices. And then once they saw the invoices, they went direct to my wholesaler and started buying from them, and pushed me out, right? So there's all these sort of stories I hear about anti-competitive behavior that I'm sure the EU will figure out too. And so I'm interested to see, because the EU has a very clear rule about marketplaces and whether you can own a marketplace and actually kind of use marketplaces and basically be a participant and actually sort of manipulate marketplaces. Like basically what the EU laws as they've been explained to me is that marketplaces are essentially, if you're a marketplace operator, you're supposed to be hands-off. You're supposed to operate the platform. You're not supposed to be in the marketplace as well and basically taking advantage of the information you have. It's like inside information. So from what it sounds like, it would be a really interesting case for the EU, and perhaps the first instance of where we finally see a little bit of that balance of power come back towards the sellers, because it's long overdue. I mean, every year, whether it's the increase in FBA fees or, Amazon's going to do this and that and the other, or they're going to violate your MAP pricing, or it's just exhausting how many times I hear more stories about the things Amazon's doing to make it harder and harder for sellers to sell. Even sales tax. I mean, seems like as much as Amazon does enjoy the benefit of not collecting sales tax as a competitive advantage, it also seems like they seem to have no problem with the fact that that's going to wipe out a lot of sellers who can't afford to comply with all the taxes. They don't seem to have a problem with that. Like it's just so hard to sell on this platform, and Amazon.
Or the fact, I'm just going to add one additional one where I've done the math, and I believe that about net with 300, Amazon's taking about pretty close to about $5 to $6 billion a year from sellers by just not reimbursing them. So essentially, every dime that Amazon makes is stolen. So in my theory, based on the rules, it's all stolen.
Yeah, I mean,
and tax, like they obviously make more money than that, and they have a good tax team. But
I'm sure they're not even going to go there. I suspect what they're using, but but again, I came from GE, so we know taxes very well. So no, but it's interesting. The reimbursements thing is huge. I have clients who have lost millions in reimbursements. Like they just, and Amazon basically bullied them and said, you can pursue this claim, but you may not find yourself selling on here anymore. Like we may suspend. It's like, and so it's just the company is just bullying people, and so I think the more instances of that comes out, I encourage sellers, if you have connections to Congress, or just call your congressperson up. If you live in Massachusetts, now is a good time to call up Elizabeth Warren's office and tell her people about what you've experienced if you've experienced that, because I think there's not enough examples out there. I don't think people really understand what the marketplace is, how many people are affected by it, how many small businesses in America rely on the marketplaces for income, and how every time Amazon makes it more and more difficult, they're really putting the squeeze on small businesses. And so, obviously when Amazon first started, I had this sort of personal theory, not online merchants, my own personal theory, that it made a lot of sense for Amazon to make FBA very cheap when it was, 10 years ago, because there was nothing like it. Like all of a sudden you just told the seller, hey, I can give you Walmart style logistics and all you have to do is give me $5 to start. I mean, just in order to get your stuff shipped in, right? And you're going to get Walmart level logistics. You don't have to do your own fulfillment. We're going to do all for you in it's dirt cheap, right? Well, what did that do? It created a flood of products, right? Everybody's throwing their stuff into Amazon, right? And so now you have, and then you get that cutthroat competition. Like I remember when I was selling on Amazon a long time ago, right? Where everyone's constantly undercutting each other by 10 cents so they can be the top, right? And so what have they done? They've artificially suppressed prices because sellers are just going right to the bone on price, right? But now Amazon has, 120 million Prime users who are very loyal and very sticky, right? Who will tend to buy things on Prime even if it's more expensive than what's sold at Walmart. So maybe now the problem is their warehouses are too full of stuff, and there's too many sellers out there, and they don't need the price to be that suppressed anymore. And so now they're trying to get people off the platform, because even before I started thinking about this, it's like people always tell me that there is a thinning of the herd mentality apparently within Amazon with respect to sellers, and it does make sense. Like now they don't need to be the most cutthroat price on a lot of these products, so they don't necessarily need. And it's getting expensive to store all these products in their warehouses. That's why it's getting more and more expensive to keep your products in the warehouse. So it seems to me like that there's been this sort of intentional trend in sort of how they compete. When you have 120 million loyal users, you don't really need to be the lowest price on a lot of these sort of products that are in the $20 to $50 range, right? Nobody cares.
Yeah, right. So
that's just me pontificating. There's no.
None of this is. This is all just opinion or thought, theoretical. Yeah. But yeah, no. This I completely agree with you. But on the bright side, maybe the EU will lay some precedent, and obviously doesn't do anything here, but maybe our lawyer, maybe the Congress and stuff will be inspired to say
I think it does impact here. That's the thing. That's why I'm optimistic about it, because I think you're forgetting like so many sellers from Europe sell in America.
Oh, that's a good point.
Are they, so it's like, I don't know. The implication may be this, whatever solution it is, that maybe one where it has to, you can't separate it, right? Like whatever they're doing, they can't just stop doing it for Europe and still do it for America. You know what I mean? Like I think that
because they're still discriminating against the European businesses that sell in the US. So then it would be like, all right, well, you can't, like, I could see that becoming messy.
I don't know because it's just such a, and there's a lot of European sellers selling Amazon. I don't know. I'm very curious, but I suspect the Justice Department is not far behind this. I mean, I think that, how do you not notice, right? How do you not? I mean, it's
where's the Justice Department on the reimbursements?
Please. They don't even know. Here's the thing.
Well, it takes one of us to get on CNBC and just say, do you know that every dollar of Amazon profit is stolen?
But we've been
like, I have 10,000 people that can agree with it. Like,
we need 10,000 people to write the Justice Department or write their congressperson or write, that's the thing. And that's where, because I've been on CNBC. I've seen a lot of my colleagues who are more plugged into this space of being on CNBC. They don't read it. They're not getting it. They don't understand. The problem is they don't understand the business. They don't even understand the reimbursement concept, because most of the people in charge, it's where's that Zuckerberg meme? You got to put a Zuckerberg meme up. Back to
we run ads. That's how we make money.
Yeah, we run ad center.
Have you not noticed yet?
Right. These are the people who have to understand Amazon. People have no idea how Facebook works, and you're trying to explain to them what reimbursements are and how that equates to theft, or how sales taxes actually should be collected at the marketplace level, and that this is all Amazon trying to get a competitive advantage. It makes no sense. It's like anything. They just don't understand it. So that's why we really do. And they don't know who we are, because we don't have a concentrated power base, which is why we created that online merchant skills and why we're trying to do. But that's it's not going to be overnight. But right now where we are right now, we're just sort of in limbo but we need people to get active. We need people to start like making noise. Like, people have to understand that Amazon selling is small businesses. Like we're talking about people, millions of small businesses around the world. God knows how many hundreds of thousands of businesses in the United States alone actually sustain existence in areas of this country where you would normally not even be able to sustain an existence. Like, think about Western Kentucky. Like, how would you earn $100,000 in Western Kentucky if you're not one of the luckiest people in Western Kentucky? But you can do it now with Amazon. So, but they don't get that. And so we really do need to educate like our politicians, or vote in new politicians that are younger and understand e-commerce, in order to start getting people to take us seriously and understand that. We're the number one, Amazon is the number one platform. I said this in my Supreme Court brief, is the number one launching pad for women and minority-owned businesses is Amazon, right? The number one platform. Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the sales tax case voted with Alito, Thomas, like judges she normally doesn't vote with, in favor of Wayfair, not realizing that what she was voting for was going to be the biggest, like basically going to wipe out this platform, right? It was going to wipe out, make it hard. Like, who would want to be an entrepreneur and start an Amazon business if the starting cost is now, if the barrier of entry goes from 1,500 to 50,000 or 100,000 because you got to cover your accounting expenses now thanks to all these taxes. Like, I don't think if she actually understood it, I don't think she would have voted the way she did. But that's the world we're in. Nobody understands who we are. Sorry, I'm gonna get off the soapbox now.
Yeah, no. It's good. I mean, and I am of the same opinion that there's so much BS that we have to do to. I mean, it's still the best way to start a business. I still choose this over brick and mortar any day, like a billion times. It's just like to be completely. You can get by with quite a bit little, but to like fully protect and to fully comply is too much. So most people just don't.
Right. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, it's such a good thing. Like, why? Like, we actually have a commerce clause in the Constitution that's meant to protect progress, because that's what it is. I mean, this is revolutionary. This is a portal to the global economy for a few. That now, like when I used to work at Walmart, right, and I would walk through the main office buildings. They had the pitch rooms, right, where you see these people pitching their products, and you're just kind of looking and wondering, is this person going to get picked? Is that person get picked? And some of the stuff was like you could see through. You see what some of the stuff looked really ridiculous, and that's gone, right? Because now, if I want to sell something to the global economy or to the full U.S. economy, I don't have to get approval from Walmart. I just put it on Amazon, right? It's totally revolutionary. And I think of it as a good thing, because now we don't have to rely on the opinion of a buyer. You get to find out for yourself whether or not this is a viable business or not. And that's good, that's progress. But with all these people in charge that are trying to like make this, they're going to take that advantage away, or that progress away, I should say. That's a bad thing. I mean, I just think that's, and I think if we could get that message out, that's what progress, that this is progress, and we wouldn't want to stop that Shark Tank is basically going to become useless when people realize you just go on Amazon, try it yourself. That's when we've got our message across, but we need people to get that message out there. We need people to help, or we need to vote in people who are young. I hate to say it, but people who really just understand e-commerce.
Well, I think it just takes somebody who is like, actually knows business and actually is like a seller and like started from nothing and that cares and that has a large social media following, and so like 6 months I'll do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Like we should blow up here at the end of like in January. We should have 100,000 subs at least, and we should have the largest course of e-commerce in history. With the way we're projected, we already have. Yeah, we were getting less than $1 signups. So it was breaking even on $1 course, and it's gonna be $1 forever. So like it's gonna be huge, and Amazon really pissed me off with all the things.
It could be so cool. I wrote an article for CNN. I got a little bit butchered, but I honestly think the solution on the antitrust side is to make Prime like its own entity. Like really, the Prime network was built on a lot of favors that governments gave Amazon. I mean, even the post office. There's a point to be made that the post office was kind of an exclusive benefit to Amazon. If you're going to make the post office deliver on Sunday, it should be available to everybody. Like Walmart should have been able to make deliveries.
Is it only Amazon that gets to deliver on Sunday?
The post office only will deliver certain express mail on Sundays. I guess they always did that, but Amazon paid for this right to have the post office deliver on Sunday, so it's exclusively an Amazon thing, as far as I understand.
What?
And then the states, right? The states allowed Amazon to sell tax-free when really they should have been collecting sales tax years ago. But that this whole made-up marketplace thing when they're really just the retailer. And then on top of that, the state's throwing tons of money at Amazon, basically covering the cost of building the distribution centers that they needed. I mean, they've just benefited so much from our government subsidies and became who they are. It does seem like the only solution is to just say, you know what, that's really not fair. We all paid for that. Like, we as citizens of our states and the citizens of the United States, we paid for this. We paid for Prime to become what it was. And so is it really appropriate that you control it, or should it be something more open and free so that other businesses can benefit from the ability to, have their products delivered in 2 days time. And
You're right. And they just really want, it seems like Amazon at the end of the day, all they want to do is like just make us buy direct from factories in China.
it does seem like that way, right? Like they just want to cut everybody out. Eventually that seems where it's going. It all seems like it's part of this like master plan.
Well, they have a whole team in there that's dedicated to signing up factories selling direct from China.
It's
Yeah, and they're like are actively doing that with huge buyers and they start all these incognito, so they don't do Amazon Basics anymore because they found out like, oh, people, so now they have all these fake brands so that people don't know it's actually Amazon.
that would be an interesting discovery motion to find out all the fake brands and all these like pretend brands.
They have a bunch of them. I've seen, like, I was talking with someone and he was like, he saw a bunch of the buyers at in China.
That's so interesting. Huh.
Yeah, so like something will be called like Kavos or something.
Yeah.
It's actually Amazon, like
can't
under a holding company or like some form of some
you'll
structure.
You'll never see that. You'll never see. It's not something they have to disclose in an annual report, so you'll never know that. So it's like.
But yeah, it's there.
It's there. It's fascinating. That's interesting. I mean.
So yeah, Amazon Basics is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and that's Amazon Basics is probably what got them in trouble because that's what gets noticed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're in this EU situation, probably, because that's, whoever decided to call it Amazon Basics probably should be fired. They probably should have gone straight to the face.
Cost them a lot of money.
Yeah, because that kind of led people onto the notion that Amazon's doing something. Data. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we covered. I think you want to call this for now. We maybe we'll do patents and trademarks. And like, I'll just watch over this and see if there's anything that was like confused. Like I'll have some friends like, or people that work for me look at it and just be like, okay, this was too complex there. Like, let's make it.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of content. I realize that, but it's good stuff. Hopefully.
Oh, it's really good. And I'll definitely be making use of it too. Cause like, I mean, if you heard my story, I have quite a vendetta against Amazon fucking me over.
Yeah. I have a vendetta against Amazon fucking everybody over too.
I think everybody has one.